Every human being alive right now began their existence inside a highly specific biological environment. Yet, if you ask most people to accurately describe how that system actually works, they draw a blank. They might name one or two organs, but the exact mechanics remain a mystery to them. For centuries, medical textbooks established male anatomy as the default human baseline. The female body was pushed to the margins, studied almost entirely as a secondary variation of the male form. That cultural discomfort created severe, real-world blind spots. Women reporting severe menstrual pain were routinely dismissed by their physicians. Medical conditions unique to female biology were chronically underfunded, leaving millions without answers well into the 20th century. Then, scientific research accelerated. Over the last 30 years, investigators mapped the pathways of female biology and proved we are not dealing with a dormant organ. What exists inside the body is a fully integrated, constantly running biological network. Getting a clear picture of this evolving, continuous network is a mandatory step. You cannot fully comprehend the foundation of human life until you understand the biological engine that creates it. To see how it operates, we have to scale down to the size of a cell and start at the biological center, the ovaries. This funnel tracks the biological mathematics of egg production. A baby girl is born with 2 million immature eggs waiting in her ovaries. By puberty, the body actively reduces that number to 300,000, and ultimately only about 500 will ever be released over her entire lifetime. But holding those eggs is only a fraction of the job. The ovaries operate as endocrine organs. That means they actively produce and distribute hormones directly into the bloodstream. Look at this schematic mapping the paths of two specific hormones, estrogen and progesterone. They exit the reproductive system entirely. They travel upward to bind with receptors in the brain. They interface with the heart. They actively regulate bone density and shape the responses of the immune system. Because of this continuous chemical communication, the reproductive system orchestrates the health of the entire female body. They are absolutely inseparable. Down in the pelvis, ovulation does not happen inside a closed plumbing system. When an ovary releases an egg, it drops entirely into open space. Watch the opening of the fallopian tube. It features delicate finger-like projections called fimbriae. They sweep the open cavity, creating a fluid current to physically pull the newly released egg out of the void and into the tube. Once inside, the egg begins a 3 to 4 day journey. The walls of the fallopian tube are lined with microscopic hairs called cilia, which beat rhythmically and constantly to push the egg forward. And it is here, inside this narrow, moving corridor, where fertilization actually occurs. The sperm travels up, the egg travels down, and they meet inside the tube, never in the uterus. If those fimbriae failed to sweep at the exact right moment, or if the tube is damaged, the egg is lost in the pelvis. The biological imperative relies on a margin for error that is razor thin. The egg's ultimate destination is the uterus. Its outer walls are built from an incredibly powerful muscle, capable of expanding to accommodate a full-term pregnancy, generating the single strongest muscular contractions in the human body during labor. But the interior is just as complex. The inner lining, the endometrium, independently builds a dense, nutrient-rich environment of blood vessels every single month. It does this entirely on its own, without a single conscious instruction. If a fertilized egg does not arrive, that lining sheds. Menstruation is a deliberate, systematic reset. The body evaluates the environment, clears the slate, and prepares to try again. If you trace this diagram, you can see exactly how the schedule is kept. The pituitary gland sends follicle-stimulating hormone to the ovary. The growing follicle sends estrogen back, halting the original signal. When estrogen peaks, luteinizing hormone triggers the egg's release. The ruptured follicle instantly transforms, pumping out progesterone to maintain the uterine lining. Every cellular transformation, every rising and falling chemical, happens on a rigorous schedule. The body continuously runs this sophisticated, self-resetting timing system entirely on its own. At the base of the uterus sits the cervix, operating as a dynamic filter. For most of the month, it produces a thick, dense mucus that acts as a physical barrier against bacteria and pathogens. But look at this microscopic transformation during ovulation. Driven by peak estrogen levels, the barrier thins out and organizes into clear, elastic channels. It builds a temporary crystalline highway designed specifically to guide sperm safely through to the uterus. Below the cervix, the vagina maintains its own ecosystem. It is a self-cleaning environment populated by an active bacterial microbiome that continuously produces lactic acid to inhibit harmful pathogens. This balanced bacterial environment shifts across the monthly cycle. It reacts to stress, changes in diet, and external medications. These structures act as highly evolved biological defense systems, constantly adapting to protect the reproductive core. The extreme precision of this entire network is the result of millions of years of evolutionary trial and error. Every hormonal loop and tissue transformation was refined across countless generations, optimized entirely for survival. When we ignore how this machinery works, the real-world consequences are severe. Women with endometriosis, a condition where tissue similar to the uterine lining grows painfully outside the uterus, have historically waited 7 to 10 years for a correct diagnosis. Polycystic ovary syndrome went misunderstood by doctors and patients alike for decades. Possessing a clear understanding of this biology equips individuals to notice when a symptom is abnormal. It provides the exact vocabulary needed to advocate for their health and demand accurate medical care. The weeks of hormonal preparation, the years of physical maturation, it all points toward the single origin moment of every human life. Two cells meeting inside an environment engineered for that exact microscopic collision. Human existence happens because of biology, because of a hormonally orchestrated, deeply refined biological masterpiece. And understanding exactly how it operates